Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Side to Side Sportscast, where it's your boys, Will, Wudi, and for the very first time, the Blonde Bomber, Fayetteville's finest, representing New York to the fullest. It's our lovely lady co-host, Lauren, on the set with your boys. Lauren has come to hold it down from the courtside, the ringside, the sidelines, and for them sports they play outdoors. She outside with us. It's side to side. That's how we. And today we got a March Madness special. It's courtside coverage, the whole episode. We talking about them brackets. But before we do that, let's talk about Lauren for a little bit. Lauren, welcome. Thank you for being down with the Side to Side crew.
No, thank you guys. Honestly, this is so exciting. Sorry, we have a little guest coming in, but we are super excited to be a part of this. Sports are kind of our thing, right? And I'm excited to get started with my favorite topic, which is March Madness. So I'm totally pumped to be here. Thank you guys for letting me be a part of this team. And yeah, we're excited, right?
We are pumped to have you on. And not only you, shout out to Nina holding it down to ladies and gentlemen watching the Sportscast before we went on air. Nina said in crystal clear voice, she said, jump shot. So that means she's going to be killing it courtside someday. She's going to have a mean crossover, step back in and out. We're going to get Filet to do a video for her talking about some tween cross, jump shot. Bang. We're going to get Filet on the Side to Side Sportscast to hold it down for Nina. But Lauren, you're a big college basketball fan, correct?
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing I feel like more pure than the college game. I feel like it's a little less, there are showboaty players, but it's a little less showboaty than the NBA. And I think it's like I said, it's more pure. You see like more teamwork, more team effort. And yeah, that's why I tell my girls that I coach, watch college basketball, don't watch the NBA. Yes. Watch college basketball, you'll learn a lot more than the NBA. So I think it's a little more pure.
I agree with you 100%. I love college basketball for the simple fact that they haven't made millions yet. And you really see the grit, the grind, and the heart out there because they're trying to make it, Right. Some people are just trying to make it to even the second round. Some people want to make it to the G League, but they all got hoop dreams and they're playing on the biggest stage. And you got to love college basketball. Hey, I love the NBA, but you nailed it. The NBA can get a little showboaty sometimes,
Well, everyone needs to get their calls. The superstars need to get their calls. Harden needs to get this. There's none of that. There's, way less travels in the college game, way less carries. A whole lot of less complaining and all that. Where you have someone like and I'm not trying to pick on anybody, but James Harden out here changing the complexion of the game with superstar calls and stuff like that.
And the great thing also about college basketball, and you see it a lot in college sports in general. So like on Saturdays when you watch, like the countdown shows, you hear all the great stories about certain teams. You're okay. Go see Mimi. All the great stories that come out. Kids that just, I never thought I'd make it out of high school. Or I never thought like I was going to be at this school or where I was. And you just see the work and the grit that they put into it. I think that's what also makes it so exciting is just learning about the stories that, you know what, I got injured and I didn't let that stop me. Or I went through the transfer portal and this, that, and the other thing. So when I cover sports, I think covering the Big East tournament back in the day, covering the Ivy League, those are some of the best times that I had because just listening to those kids talk, they're not really kids, but listening to them talk and hearing what they had to go through. And even being a former college basketball player, I mean, that was D3, but just still like looking at my teammates, they still go to class. They have internship. They have, you know what I mean? So it's such a pure game, and these kids just have the heart and the knack for it that it's exciting to watch, especially around March Madness.
Especially. And I remember last year, one of the players that really caught my eye from Oregon was Chris Duarte, who was drafted 13th overall by the Indiana Pacers. One of the oldest rookies you ever see, 24, 25 years old, game fully developed. He could shoot, but his story was definitely one that a lot of kids can identify with. You know, after high school, he didn't really have offers. He had to do JUCO, but he kept building on his game. And then before you know it, boom, graduating, playing up through his senior year at Oregon, and now he's in the NBA. So the story of all these kids from what happened post high school to where they're going next or trying to get to is definitely, pulls the heartstrings, certainly. And that is why this magical time of year is so important.
Yeah, it's definitely one of the best. I look forward to it every year. I was so sad when they canceled the tournament 2 years ago. I was like, what in the world am I going to do? Like, this is March sadness. There is no March Madness. Like, this is depressing. Like, at work, I'll have my phone and my headphones. Like, I'll wear my hair down so I could hide my headphones so I could listen to the game. Like, that's how I involved. I went to Disney World 5-6 years ago, and I like pulled out a napkin and I was writing down my bracket so I could send it to my brother and be like, listen, this is who I want, blah, blah, blah. And that's how I was following the tournament, was on little napkins the entire time I was in Florida. So
wow. Now that's dedication right there. That's dedication. Hey, you know what? You make me realize that even places of employment realize how important March Madness is, because I haven't had a job in my career where when the tournament is on, they don't have it somewhere. You know, I'm talking Fortune 500 companies that I worked for. They know that we need to watch this bracket. Ladies and gentlemen, if your job does not turn on a tournament, that is a lame place of employment.
To go. Just quit.
And especially nowadays where a lot of people can work from home, you better have the game on. It's actually perfect for that.
I have a guy I work with, he's constantly putting like parlay bets in, this, that, and the other thing. So I know for sure he's going to be like this the entire time next week. And we have to work at night too. So he'll be like, yep, okay. Mm-hmm. And he'll have his headphone. And he won't even care about hiding it. Like, he will be. So I go over his shoulder, like, what's going on? Who do you like in this game? Who are you betting?
So, Lauren, do you have a personal favorite college basketball team?
So we kind of touched on this before the show. For a while growing up, of course, like as a female athlete, I loved UConn. I read the Rebecca Lobo book when I was in third grade, did a whole story on her. So I loved UConn because of Rebecca Lobo. And then, like, in terms on the men's side, it's either I love a player, so I'll follow that team. I love a coach, so I'll follow that team. It just depends. But then I went to grad school at Syracuse, so I feel like I have to pledge allegiance to the Syracuse Orange. So that will always be my team from now on. But I will always find a team that, you know what, I like this player, so I'm going to follow them and I'm going to root for them. But if they ever come across my orange, no, I'll go for Syracuse. So,
Cuse. I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you.
Yeah, a little bit of a rough year this year, but we'll be all right.
Okay. So, Wudi, do you have a favorite college basketball team?
Will, let's say tough question.
It would be what? If you were going to say another team while you're wearing that, I would have been surprised.
Oh, yes. So for the MP3, listeners that we got, I got to represent Tar Helia. Okay, UNC, we are out here.
Nation.
Yeah, NC proud out here. So trying to do that thing. Spoiled Coach K's last game. All right, last home game, So
thank God.
That's what I gotta say about that.
Well, we never talked about it on the Sportscast, but me personally, my college for college football, obviously, I'm a Florida Gators fan. I think people know that, but college basketball is separate. I am a Villanova Wildcats guy, man. Jay Wright and the crew. You know, when growing up in Philly, that's like as close to like really supporting the city as I used to get. Obviously, my teams aren't really Philadelphia based, but the Wildcats, I do like the Wildcats. I always love to watch them play, regardless of what their chances are. And you know, Lauren, you talk about Syracuse. Syracuse had a little bit of drama lately, didn't they?
Yeah, you know, I was telling you guys, I'm a little salty towards the ACC. I don't understand it, but Buddy Boeheim I want to say it was like, I forget what part of the ACC tournament it was. They were playing against Florida State, and he turned around and punched a player in the stomach. The refs didn't call it in the game. They was never reviewed during the game, and then after the game, the ACC said, nope, he's suspended. Now, I'm not condoning what he did because
right.
You thought it was UFC out there. Yeah.
You came out of your mental you lost your mental toughness at that point. So, you know, what you did, yes, you need to be punished, but if it's not called by the refs, if it's not reviewed during the game, why is the ACC meddling in the fact that this happened? You know what I mean? So now you took a kid out of potentially his last game ever in a Syracuse orange jersey for something, you know. I also think, I always tell when I coach, basketball is a game, like, you have to act. So, you know, I don't know how hard he hit the player in the stomach, but some part of me wants to think that he acted a little bit, you know, like, you know what I mean?
We do live in the flop era. Yeah, I mean, you got to sell it, you know, the flop era. We don't have to go over who started it, but yeah, we definitely living in it.
Oh, I was about to name drop right there and say who started it. But
that was a whole different
first episode of me being on side to side. We don't need to do that.
It's all good. It's all good.
Well, maybe episode 2 though. We might have to because I know. I mean, Lauren, we're on the same page. We're gonna have to talk to this man. Episode 2. That means you guys gotta tune in for that because. It'll be crazy.
The hatred is real on my part, but okay.
Oh man. Well, speaking of hatred, this is the time of year where people fill out their brackets post-selection Sunday. They fill out their brackets. Everybody is taking a serious guess at what's about to happen. And then what happens in the first round? Some team from nowhere upsets one of the big players, and everybody's bracket is busted, right? So how about we talk about this current March Madness bracketology? Let's talk about the team that you think is most likely to upset one of the top teams in the first round.
Who I'm gonna go first on that.
Well, I mean, I was trying to be chivalrous. You know what I'm saying? Ladies first.
Ladies
the first episode, I was like,
yo.
So, okay. Well, I feel like, and I'm just like totally, I just got to say, first of all, my mom, she will never, ever lose in the first round. She just happens to pick teams that like will upset, and everyone's bracket will be busted, and she will be still alive. She'll be like,
She'll be alive.
Oh my God. But I will say, for some reason, I just have this gut feeling, I can be completely wrong, that South Dakota State is going to pull off an upset in the first round against Providence. Like, I can't tell you why. I just have this gut feeling that it's going to happen, and that's going to be a shakeup in the first round. You're just going to be like, what in the world just happened? So that's my team to most likely upset.
Well, I kind of can tell you why. I like that. I like that pick. Because South Dakota State, I mean, I feel like, you know, people are kind of sleeping on them. I mean, they have the second most points per game in the country behind Gonzaga. All right, they're the only team that I can think of that have 3 different players that average double-digit points and are shooting 40% from 3. I mean, this is a team that can get hot any night.
Now I just don't know. Yeah, I just don't see. Like, my thing is, like, I don't know, because obviously, like, later on in the show we have a different topic, but for some reason, like, I just feel like these teams, and you got to remember in March Madness, this is everyone's Super Bowl. So the first round is everyone's like, you have a bullseye on your back. And for some reason, I just feel like South Dakota is going to show up. They're going to, hit big shots when it's needed. And I don't think it's going to be a blowout game. But I know that they're going to hit big shots when it's needed, and big plays are going to be made either on defense or the offensive end. But I think those plays are going to be made when it counts the most, and that's why they're going to be able to pull off this upset.
No, I hear that.
I think that is a very good pick for an upset. Now, I'll tell you my team that I think is going to upset. And when I say this, I'm pretty sure people are going to throw tomatoes at me, boo me off the stage. Right?
Throw tomatoes.
But I just say that I really feel this can possibly happen. You want to talk about the teams that came out of nowhere, like, UMBC Retrievers upsetting the number 1 seed. You want to talk about the Loyola Chicagos of the world. This team rarely makes the NCAA tournament. And this time they are taking on last year's champions, Baylor. And all I got to say is behold the green and gold. Norfolk State upsetting Baylor. I'm calling it right now. It doesn't look likely, but Norfolk State, not a lot of people know about them, right? But I'm going to give you a name. Joe Bryant, 6'1" guard from Norfolk, got his team into the tournament. This boy can play some ball, and, it's a matchup thing for me. Both teams are relatively small, right? Both teams are dominated by their guard play. And Norfolk, man, they play some team basketball, They're not going to let the game get away from them. And I would not be surprised if last year's champions, Baylor, they're a really good team. But I got them getting kicked out, unexpected bracket buster. Shout out to Norfolk State.
I mean, I guess that truly is the definition of an upset, like the lower seed taking out Baylor. That would surely be an upset. I don't know if I see it happening. I just feel like that Baylor defense is a little too stifling, even for a team as hot as Norfolk State right now. I mean, they're winners of 9 of their last 10, but I don't know. I feel like the luck is about to run out.
Hey, last time Norfolk State got into the tournament, they took an L to Gonzaga, and Gonzaga always has like a balanced team. They're never without size, right? They're never without speed. They have shooting. Like the team was just too much for Norfolk State, but they're back now, and they carrying that chip on their shoulder. That green and gold chip is on their shoulder. Matter of fact, it's not a chip; it's more like a brick or a boulder. And I'm going with Norfolk State taking out Baylor. Let's do it.
Did you practice that before? Was that rehearsed? Because there was a little bit of poetic justice in that.
I'm a poet. If you didn't know it.
Oh. All right.
It comes out that way sometimes.
Well,
my pick, poems.
I don't know, because you guys both had some decent picks. My pick. All right, I'm picking a team that's actually currently in the first 4, so they're going to need to do some work to even make it like into the bracket. But as we know, the first 4, I mean, there usually is an upset of those 4 that actually make it. So my pick to upset once they actually get to the bracket, if they can get there, is actually Rutgers. Okay, I mean they've lost to some bad teams, but then they come back and beat good teams. Right, so they've been playing up and down to their competition all season long. So that's why I'm kind of nervous about them getting through this first 4 game. But if they get through, Alabama, you better watch out. That boy Ron Harper Jr. If anyone knows anything about James Wudi, it is the tremendous respect that he has for second and third generation athletes. Ron Harper, senior year, every game is potentially his last game. Right. So I think, they're going to be a real tough out. And Alabama, I don't think y'all can do it. I think that's my pick for the upset, Rutgers, Ron Harper Jr.
Wow, that's actually a really good pick, because if Rutgers gets to play against Alabama, one thing that I know about Alabama from watching them play a couple times, they definitely have the tendency to shoot themselves out of a game. They're going to shoot them. They're going to shoot jumpers. That's what they're going to do. And they're they're either making them or they're missing them. And when they're cold, man, they are cold. So
live by the jump shot, die by the jump shot.
Live by the jumper, die by the jumper. Absolutely. So we picked some teams that we think are likely to upset. But now let's talk about those teams that are likely to be upset. They're obviously the higher ranked seed, and people who really don't know a lot about the landscape. You're filling out your brackets and you're going to say, oh, this team is this seed, so I'll just pick the higher seed, right? Who are some of your bracket busters here who could actually wind up being the higher seed that loses? Wudi, how about you start us off this time?
Well, I got no problem doing that. And, for me, when I'm looking at games and competition, I'm always looking at the mentals, where you're at, where your head's at. And that's why I picked Rutgers before. I just feel like, Ron Harper Jr., second generation, his head, he's a senior, where he's at. For this team, this is a team that has a whole lot of high expectations, okay? Their coach is a living, breathing legend, but now this is his last run, all right? We're talking about 5 guys who are supposed to be first rounders in the NBA draft this year. The pressure is unbelievable for this Duke organization. I don't know if this pressure will build that diamond or if they'll just all crumble. I mean, we saw in the last game what happened with the pressure of Coach K's last game. So I don't know. I mean, Cal State, they have some shooters. All right. You want to talk about that mentality. They have 3 seniors at the guard position shooting over 33% from 3. If they get hot, if they put everything that they have into this, what will these 5 youngsters, what will, the team be able to do under that pressure? I don't know if they can handle it. Duke, I think they're at risk.
I like that. I just didn't trust Cal to do it. I didn't trust them. That's why I didn't pick them. But I want it to happen. I'm rooting for it to happen. And everyone now knows me as a Duke hater, and I'm sorry. Coach K is a great coach. Don't get me wrong. I will respect that. I just don't I never have liked Duke. So. But I like that choice.
There it is. I stand by it.
Nothing will change my mind.
I hear you. Well, I'm going to go for my team that is likely to be upset in this tournament. In the South Division, I got to look at this 4 versus 12 matchup and Illinois versus Chattanooga. I'm going with Illinois first round exit. Now, Illinois has a absolute beast phenom from Kingston, Jamaica, Kofi Cockburn in the middle of the paint. Hey, Kofi, my bad, man. If you're watching the Sportscast, I'm sorry, man. Sometimes I'm just a kid at heart. But Kofi, 7 foot 285, and he's larger than life. Chattanooga actually doesn't have anyone to match up with him. But Illinois is going to slow it down. They're going to try to pound it in the paint. And I think Chattanooga is going to get up and down the court. Up and down the court. They're going to spread them out. I expect Illinois to continue playing this zone defense. Chattanooga is going to hit the shots, and it's going to be rough. Teams are making Illinois run, and on the season they're 22-9, but they've lost 6 of those 9 games since the new year came in. So they are not hot right now. You know, they started off pretty hot, but it looks like coaches have the tape on Illinois, and I would not be surprised if Illinois took that L in the first round.
Just a
third. I'm going with Chattanooga Mocs. What'd you say?
No, it's just a third L, just Illinois.
Yeah, you're right. Illinois, right? Put the L in Illinois. And then Kofi Cockburn can go take care of himself with it. No, I'm sorry. Childish. My bad. Anyway, let's go.
Okay. Well, so my pick, most likely to get upset, is going to be Kentucky. Now, the reason why I say this is because I want to say, you know, Kentucky kind of has that where they lose, they kind of just like fizzle out in the tournament. You know what I mean? Like, they lost the other night to Tennessee, which I didn't think was going to happen. We were sitting at Hibachi watching the game. So I just think, for some reason, I don't think they have it this year. And I don't think they're going to have that spark where they lost to Tennessee and be like, all right, we're going to go into this tournament and we're going to do work. I just don't think, and that's nothing on the coaching staff. That's nothing on the players. I just don't think they have that grit and that fire underneath them that's going to be lit for this tournament. And you kind of seen it in the past couple of tournaments. I want to say that Kentucky hasn't really been like that big factor. They're a one and done kind of school. And I just don't see them going far in this tournament, and I'm hoping that they get upset. And I'm going to pray to St. Peter, who's the patron saint of locksmiths, that St. Peter shows up with the lockdown D and stops Kentucky.
I see what you did there.
And it's talking about poetry.
You know, hopefully. I don't know when that game is, but if it's the day after, if it's on Friday, March 18th, I'll make sure I definitely don't eat any meat that day for Lent.
Wow.
Yes, I respect that.
I think that game is going to be on the 17th, actually.
Oh, okay. St. Patrick's Day. All right.
There you go. Yeah. Hey, some Irish luck to go around with praying to St. Peter's, man. You know, we'll talk a little bit more about that matchup in a little bit. But hey, this is the time of year where all of these teams have players. They have star players or aspiring stars, people who may not be known yet, but it's time for them to get on the map. So this is the time of year where the stars are going to carry their teams. You know, I remember once Gordon Hayward, you know, he became a household name during this tournament. And there's always players out there. So right now, who do you think can improve their draft stock by having a really solid tournament? You know what? I'll start this one off because you kind of hurt my feelings just a little bit, Lauren. Just a little tiny bit, because a team that I really am kind of, you know, I'm intrigued by this team. You just picked them to get, not only did you pick them to lose in the first round, but you prayed to St. Peter. You got the Irish luck, you know, going on with it. But I'm going to talk about Ty Washington of the Kentucky Wildcats. You know, right now, Ty is, his name's on the map. He's a freshman. This John Calipari team doesn't have a lot of one and dones. He's really like probably one of the only ones. They actually, surprisingly, it seems like these kids are going to different schools now, and that's why Kentucky hasn't really been the most relevant. But Ty is definitely a one and done, and this is his time. He's a combo guard, right? He can play the one or the two. But what he does is he's a two-way player. He's a slasher. He's got a little jump shot. And can he be a leader? That's what remains to be seen. Can he lead this team deep into the tournament? Because if he can do that, he may be able to put his name up there in the top 3 draft picks with the likes of Chet Holmgren and Jabari Smith. So that's Ty Washington's story. If I talk about a player last year who going into the tournament really did his draft stock a great service, Jalen Suggs, who, you know, he from Gonzaga. he was definitely a first round pick, probably top 10 to 15. But he had such an impressive tournament that he wound up being, drafted in the top handful of picks in this to the Orlando Magic last year. So I'm going with Ty Washington as my player who can definitely the player you should watch out for and is looking to increase his draft stock.
Well, I don't even know what's gonna give way. I mean, this prayer, we just saw it. I seen it with my eyes. This prayer to St. Peter, or everything Will just said about Ty. What do these things have to give?
Right, it's crazy because I'm such a big believer in prayer, and obviously, if they go you want to talk about one and done schools? If they have one game and they're done in a tournament, then obviously his draft stock is not going to improve.
That is true. That is definitely true.
That is true.
I bet you the Lakers are praying they lose because they need some help. They need somebody. Oh, they don't even have a first pick. So, hey, never mind. Never mind that.
Well, maybe I got somebody. I don't think they're going to be one and done. I also don't think they're going to be national champions. But this particular guy, I think, he's been getting better every year. And I think this is his chance to kind of show on the grand stage like he deserves to be considered in the top 5 conversation for draft prospects. I mean, coming out of high school, he averaged 7 points per game off the bench. Okay, no one was really talking about him. But last summer, he was actually a gold medalist on the FIBA World Championship for the 19 and under squad. Okay, he's actually 19 right now, and right now he is averaging 20 points per game. He is one of the best inside-out scorers right now in all of college basketball. I'm talking about Johnny Davis right now. Okay, this is a guy who I feel like on the next level could be able to do it all. I mean, the boy is 6'5", and he's averaging 8 rebounds per game. He's one of the most prolific rebounders from the guard position, and yet he's a bucket getter, okay? I think one of the biggest knocks on him right now, why he is not in that upper echelon, is his efficiency, okay? He shoots 42% from the field. His three-point percentage could be higher, but, he's a volume scorer. So a couple of big performances in this tournament, and they're going to have to put some respect on Johnny's name. You know what I'm saying, okay? I think this is the time for Johnny to show the world, all right, he's improved so much each year. This is his chance in this tournament.
Shout out to JD.
All right, well, so I'm going with someone from UNC, which, we're an ACC nation, so I feel like I got to give a little nod. But my player that I think can have a really big breakout tournament, hopefully riding off his ACC not tournament but season, and just because he got snubbed, and I think he should have gotten ACC Player of the Year, was Armando Bacot from UNC, the forward. He's a junior forward, and I think his stats kind of speak for themselves. He averaged 16.6 points a game, had 12.5 rebounds. He led the ACC, I believe, in rebounding, offensive rebound. He had double-doubles, his field goal percentage. He was the highest voted to be like all ACC team, but I think he really got snubbed. And, one of the big breakout moments or big plays that he had came against Duke at Cameron Indoor, and he just threw down this monster dunk, and that really like sealed the game kind of. So I think, and it's tough because we don't really talk about it enough, but the 8-9 matchups in the NCAA tournament, they're always so, that they can go either way. Because think about it, 8-9, yeah, you're right there, you're neck and neck. But I think in order for UNC to have a really good tournament, I think he needs to step up and continue to play the basketball that he was playing all season, and even kind of just like a little expand on that a little bit. So I think that's a player to watch for this tournament. Hopefully, they get out of that 8-9 matchup with Marquette on top and can ride it through the tournament.
Hey, if they get out of that 8-9 matchup, the second round is going to be looking pretty good for them because I don't think Norfolk State can match up with them. I'm still saying they actually match up with Baylor. they match up with Baylor a little better than most people may think. And I could look like a genius or a fool. We'll see. But if they get to that second round, I do not think they're going to be able to compete with UNC at all. So
I really do. I do hope that UNC does win this. Like I think they can. I think after getting beat by they did by Virginia Tech, and not like in any way taking away from Virginia Tech. It's just I think UNC is the kind of team that's like, you know what, we shouldn't have lost like that. So I think that they'll have that tenacity to come back out and win it. But you know, Mondo, he needs to come out and have a big game, and he needs to play the same type of basketball that he can't change his game on this big stage. You know what I mean? He needs to keep playing his game. He needs to keep playing the way that he does. And shoot, get me 16 points, get me 17 points. Do what you got to do, but don't try and change the way you're playing now because you're really in the national viewpoint. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. No, very, very good points. And, you know, North Carolina would definitely, if they don't play through him, that would actually be a big mistake. I mean, North Carolina is definitely catching momentum, and Armando Bacot is a tough dude to match up with. You know, what an interior force he is. So great picks. I think if he has a great tournament, you're talking about NBA, you know, the smaller big man right now, that combo forward center, he definitely fits that mold for the teams that want to go a little bit smaller. You know, he's athletic, and hey, he reminds me a little bit of my boy Montrezl Harrell and some of that. But we're not going to get into that too much. But great pick. Now, there's one team that we did not talk about yet, but this is the team to talk about in the tournament. Let's talk about the saga of Gonzaga. I can't claim to be a poet and you didn't know.
What do they say in the South? Bless their heart. Oh, bless them. Bless them.
What is going on with the Zags? It seems like every year they got a team that can actually do it, but they don't do it. They did somehow, right? And this year they've got the front court that there's not many teams in the nation that can match up with the 7-foot, 195-pound Chet Holmgren, who is the unicorn in a sense, you know, a 7-footer who can handle the ball. He can shoot the ball. He's as light as a feather. You know, he's definitely going to need to get his weight up in the NBA. But, hey, this is college basketball right now. We're not worried about that. And Timmy, who had a great, you know, tournament last year, only to see it come down to the end when they lost to Baylor. But, you know, what do you all think? Can Gonzaga actually get through the tournament this year? Can they get to the national championship?
I don't see it happening. I don't. I think it kind of is just a saga of like they have such a great you know, they have such a great season and then they just kind of like fizzle out, you know, like it's something just like it's a kind of like a dud firework, you know, where you light it, you're like, oh, this is gonna be so exciting, this is gonna be great, and then it's just kind of like, oh. You know what I mean? Like, I hate to say it because like you think about it, like every year they're number one. Every year they're having like an amazing start to the season, and then you just kind of see them get into the tournament. And it's like, what? This isn't the same team. So is it because the moment is too big, or is it just other teams have their number, or the coaches do the job and they write down, you know, this is how we're going to beat them. We pay attention. This is how we're going to do it. Why couldn't other teams do this? You know what I mean? So for me, I don't see it happening this year. Now watch this come back and bite me in the butt, but I don't see it happening. Not this year.
Well, if it does come back to bite you, that would be unfortunate. But it would also kind of be fortunate for me because I'm telling you right now, this is the year. Okay, Gonzaga. All right, they keep zagging when they should be zigging. But I'm telling you right now, this is the year. Okay, and one thing that we all said that we love about college sports, right, is it's a team game. It's a team sport, right? There aren't stars that are larger than the game. But we also know, as three former ballers on this sportscast, that stars, A-type players with that X factor make a huge difference. And with Chet, okay, who is trying to stake his claim, he is trying to be, number one overall. He has so much, to prove on this stage. And then you got guys like Timmy, who was just there, who just lost, that has this chip on their shoulder, okay? They have the perfect blend right now, and that's going to be the key of this team from top to bottom is balance. Balance, okay? They have the inside, they have the outside game, okay? They have the guys who experience the horror of defeat, and then they got the fresh blood that's looking to stake their claim. Okay, and for Chet himself, okay, he himself is inside outside. I'm telling you right now, this is the team to beat, but they won't be beat. This is their year. Okay, the redemption story here.
Wow. What a Coach Mark Few is gonna have to get you in a locker room to speak to these boys because you definitely convinced me that they can win it, but I'm going to stick with my original gun. What is it? Is it a lack of focus? Is it just shrinking on a big stage? I don't know, man. It just seemed like Gonzaga cursed. Somebody eventually got to break the curse. I just don't think I don't think Chet Holmgren. I don't know. And there's some bias in this because the team that I actually think is going to win it all is actually going to run through them. I think they're going to match. I think I'm going to save this announcement, right? But I'm going to save this announcement. But Gonzaga is good. I mean, they got everything. There's nothing. They don't lack anything, right? They can shoot. They can stretch the floor. Their bigs can shoot, right? Their guards can shoot. They got speed. They can play inside. They have everything. But this isn't the first time they've had everything and they just didn't get it done. I actually thought last year they were going to do it, but they got clamped. They got clamped, right? And I don't see the toughness on this team to when you get to the Final Four or you get to the national championship, you can get clamped again. I don't think they're going to get out of the Final Four. And I think it's because of that reason. They're going to lose. And I'm just going to say it right now, right? The team that I have beating them in the national in the Final Four and who's going on to win it all is those Kentucky Wildcats that the Blonde Bomber has losing in the first round, right? And I'm going to tell you why. There is a mountain of a man in the middle of this Kentucky Wildcats team. Oscar Tshiebwe, 6'9", 260, averaging 15 rebounds a game. He is a force in the middle. And I think he's going to beat Timmy and Chet up. I think, regardless of how he plays, he's going to be body. We are going to see, when they get to the Final Four, we are going to see a soft Gonzaga. Just like Wudi said, they be zagging when they should be zigging. Well, they're not going to be zigging in the Final Four. They're going to take their lumps. Ty Washington is going to be that one-and-done freshman. He's going to lead this Kentucky team. Get to that stage. It's going to be a big, marketable average. It's going to be Gonzaga versus Kentucky. And I got the Wildcats, John Calipari, going on to the national championship. I'm sorry. Yay. Nina feels me. Shout out to Nina.
That actually sounded like she completely disagreed. Yes, it sounded like there was some disagreement.
She said yay, but when she saw you doing this, she said boo.
She knows who changes her diaper, so this is terrible for me. What if they actually pull this off and then I look like the jerk that picked them to lose in the first round? I hope this doesn't happen for my sake.
Hey, I picked Norfolk State to beat Baylor. So, listen, one of us, if not both of us, we'll see what happens.
Right.
But we riding, though, no matter what. We riding.
All right. Well, I guess I'll pick I'll say my pick to win it all. Mm-hmm. And we talked about kind of like fizzling out, like Gonzaga kind of fizzling out come tournament time. But there's always one thing that a lot of teams I know, because I played D3, but when we went to the NCAA tournament, it was a brand new season, right? What you did before did not matter. It was all about that day. And if you won the next day, next game, whatever. So for me, I'm picking a team that kind of had a great start and was projected to win it all early on in the season, which is Auburn. And then they kind of had a little bit of a rough patch. But I think because it's a brand new season, I'm hoping they can get that flame and that firework back so that they can win it all. And I think they can. I think they have a great team. I think they are, a solid team and one that you can't sleep on. Obviously, they're the number 2 seed. So, but I think for me, Auburn's going to win it all.
Auburn. That is a very good pick. And you know what? I actually have Auburn getting to that national championship. Auburn's got an incredible roster. Arguably the first overall pick in Jabari Smith.
Yeah.
He gets a lot of Kevin Durant comparisons. He's not quite KD, but he's got the size, the smoothness to his game. He can shoot. He can handle the ball. Jabari Smith can absolutely play. And then you have the monster in the middle, the guy who just erases everybody's thoughts of bringing it to the paint. We are talking about that big boy, Walker Kessler.
Yeah.
Averaging 4.5 blocks a game, 7'1", 245.
7'1".
7'1", 245.
That's
averaging 4.5 blocks a game. He's had multiple games this year with double-digit blocked shots. I wouldn't be surprised if throughout this tournament he has a couple games with double-digit blocked shots. This boy just erase it, man. He is an incredible shot blocker, and it's not just because he's big. He goes and gets it. He's got the art down pat. So it's going to be hard when you talk about, they got a big who can hold down the paint, and then the other big can stretch the floor and shoot, and you got guards who can slash. Man, if I wasn't being biased,
pretty hard. That's a hard. What
might be Auburn.
You tell your team, hey, okay, we're gonna dribble drive, so I want you to drive in, but at the same time, you got this monster in the middle. Like, what are you gonna? So you got to draw the defense in. So you really do want to do a dribble drive, draw the defense in, get your shooters, but you got to hope that your shooters are on that day.
Yep.
Because again, like we said earlier on, live by the jumper, die by the jumper. So to look at that game film, you really got to figure out, okay, how are we going to beat this team? How are we going to beat this Auburn team with someone as big as that in the middle? No. And then you have, No,
yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Pretty much, no, yeah. She's saying, no, you can't do it.
Can't do it.
Honestly, I'm high on Auburn. I think it might be Auburn Gonzaga in that national championship. When my boys prove everybody wrong, okay, they finally win it. All right, that's my pick. I'm doubling down. And Mark Few, give me a call if you want. You can give me a call. I'll talk to the team. I'll go to the locker room. I'll rally them up because I know they have what it takes deep down inside to make this happen and to right all the wrongs of the previous Gonzaga teams. I'm telling you that they're my pick. Gonzaga beating Auburn in the national championship. I'll be there. We'll watch it all with our eyes. We'll be watching.
We can make a bet when that happens. We'll make a bet before. and we'll do it so everyone that watches will know that this bet happened.
Fair enough.
So the good news is all three of us have Auburn making it to the Natty.
Yep.
But we have different teams facing Auburn. I got Kentucky facing Auburn. Wudi has Gonzaga facing Auburn. Who do you have facing Auburn?
You know what, y'all, like I usually pick based off of, like I said, my heart and then what I think is going to happen.
It's all good.
I don't even know if I'm going to fill out a bracket this year. I don't even think I'm going to fill out a bracket this year because I just don't. I don't see Gonzaga going that far. I really don't. But at the same time, like I don't know which team I would pick. Like I don't think Arizona's going to go far either. Like I don't think that's going to happen. Obviously, they can't play against each other in the national championship.
Right.
But I don't.
Well, we know you're not going to pick Duke.
Oh no! You know what? For S&Gs to make this good, I'll say they'll go against Gonzaga, even though I don't think they're going to go that far. But we'll say they go against Gonzaga. I'll put that in when I fill out my heart bracket. I will put that in just because of this conversation, and then I'm going to have to beat Gonzaga so I could call at the end of the game and be like, "I told you so."
Coach K. Okay, Coach K. You got Coach K going. I got Coach Calipari going. This is going to be a great tournament. I'm excited for it. You guys are excited for it. Ladies and gentlemen who are watching the Side to Side Sportscast, we sure you are excited for it. We are going to fill out our brackets. We're going to try to convince Lauren to fill one out. Okay. we're gonna fill out our brackets. We're gonna post our results. Follow us on Instagram at S2S Sportscast, and we are going to share our results. It's going to be fun. We want to see your brackets. We actually want you to come on the Sportscast and call it how you see it, call it how you saw it, call out those who didn't see it how you saw it, represent your bracketology. Let us know what you think. And, hey, hold it down. Lauren, we look forward to our next Sportscast with you on it. Thank you for holding it down. It's March Madness. And I know you prayed to St. Peter's, but we are going to be in contact soon to see if I look like a fool for picking Norfolk State or the blonde bomber took an L for picking St. Peter's. I would never say you would look like a fool because I look like a fool 24/7.
It's happened plenty of times, so it's
all right. Well, listen, it's been fun. And until the next time, we out.